RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Rational Investor. This is Julian. No camera today. I'm in a slightly different location, not my normal office, but the internet connection here is great, so shouldn't have a problem at all. As you can see on the top of my screen, we've got Powell speaking in about, how many hours from now? 9, 12, 9. About 10 hours, 12 hours from now. Oh, sorry, 11 hours. 10 and a half, technically. Good morning, Raphael. Nice to see you. Yes, I will do Sui. Sure. Whoever talks the most in the chat, speaks the most, with the most interesting questions, I will review 3 different coins of your choosing at the end. Something to encourage engagement at this arguably weird time that I do the shows. So this is the big thing, right? Jackson Hole has historically been quite a turning point in the market in the past, and I think that's what the market's setting up for here. You don't get, like, okay, so let me show you guys. So we do have a weekly 8 that came in on Bitcoin. I warned about this, and it makes sense that we have this kind of drop, and we've got people calling for the end of the rally. The bull run is over. You know, we're going to head down to 90K or something like that. I don't see that. I don't see it happening. If we look at M2 money supply, you guys know how I feel about M2 money supply. Hopefully it can show up on the chart. Yeah, so M2 money supply was supposed to have a minor dip here, but eventually, let me bring it down. We want to bring it to a daily chart. Actually, this is not aligned at all. You can see how well this all lines up. I do this every week, like clockwork. You can see M2 money supply has continued higher. There's been really no arguable drawback in M2 money supply except for this little dip here. And then we go full bore into the end of September. And we are nearing my 10-week signal. This is basically 1 week away. Or around now to like a week from now is when euphoria is supposed to hit. And if that's going to happen, Bitcoin needs to just like rocket higher. And not like one rocket, it needs like 20 rockets strapped to its back so everyone jumps on board. And this is where you get the blow off top right here, mid to end of September. Normally uptrending powerful moves last about 25 to 35 days. So if we look at the time frame, does it line up? I'm pretty sure it does. Let's assume it rockets, tomorrow after Jackson Hole, and boom, look at that. The top is 28 bars, so 28 days later, which is exactly in the time frame that we expect rallies to happen. And at the same time, we zoom in, and yeah, we broke down from my uptrending parallel channel, but I think it's a fake out. I'm going to get rid of this M2. What do we have here? TD8 and TD9, like clockwork, and these work very well in the daily time frame with Bitcoin. Okay, so I don't know how this setup. Look, I'm either going to look like a genius here, or I'm going to be completely wrong. But I'm 90% sure that I will look like a genius, and I don't see a reason. The only reason I see for all of this to happen, all of this here, is to take liquidity, end up down here, and then sit down here for days to build further liquidity. Let's look at the actual price action on like lower time frames. This kind of quick up and down price action all the way down, this is not bear market price action. This is, we want to confuse the shit out of retail, and we want to take as much liquidity as possible. And you're going to see Jackson Hole is the perfect excuse to make that last move before we lift higher. And this is what they do. This is what they do every time. So they're going to likely spike it down. maybe 110K, 109, 111. I don't know the exact area. It's gonna dump, and then it's just gonna rocket higher. And that's what happens every single time at every major turning point. You guys remember when Israel was, when the war with Israel and Iran was happening, they did this, right? And as soon as Donald Trump went in with the U.S. bombers, everybody thought like once they do that, it's going to escalate the war. It was actually the end, and they used that to massively dump the market and then pump right after that so fast and so vicious that if you didn't get long at that bottom. Oh, cool. That's funny. Yes. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that type of humor. On that note, I'm going to take a little bit of drink of my coffee here, which is just mediocre because I'm not home and I'm used to my fancy coffee at home and a little bit of a coffee snob, and it's just not as good. Anyway, that is what would make the most sense to me. The problem is that most of crypto Twitter is calling for 111K, this area, which makes me think, okay, they still need liquidity, right? So do we either don't touch it and we go right above, like we get to 111, 800 something, we just go to right there and then rock it, or we dump a lot further, like 107, 108, such that people are so scared that nobody longs, everybody gets stopped out, and then it just immediately reverses and you're left with this huge tail. Those are kind of my two scenarios. We can look at liquidity levels to kind of give us an indication of what's going to happen. And again, why am I talking about this? Well, this is going to drive everything else. And I do think that alts are going to do better. We're going to talk about that. I'm mostly aligned into alts over Bitcoin. But we want to look at liquidation levels just to kind of see. I don't think it's that helpful, but we can look. If we go to like a 30-day chart, right? We only really have major liquidations down to 110.5K. And they to get the big ones, they only really need to go to about 111,500. And then they can take off and liquidate all the shorts. Like there's really not much down here on a 30-day chart. What about a 7-day? So again, we basically go to 111 and then that's it. And then we should rocket higher. 1 day, again, 111, 110, 900, and then you rocket higher. It's kind of this almost boringly the same. Let's see if it's the same on these. Yeah, look at that. 30-day. Oh, on all of these charts, it's the maximum liquidity grabbing move is go to 110 or 111K and move higher. The problem I have is that a lot of crypto Twitter is talking about 111K. But there's a lot of liquidity there. It makes sense to stop everyone out and then move higher. So that's kind of what I'm pointing to. That's what I'm looking at. I think that makes the most sense. Let me refresh Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid has like nothing. There's almost no liquidations on Hyperliquid, but big on the short side here. This is a big short liquidation and a big one here at 150 something. I don't know if we'll get there, but that's a big one. Okay, let's look at fear and greed. Neutral. I would like to see this in the fearful category. I don't think it's going to happen. Switching to S&P really quick. What is today's date? Okay, so I want to look at the S&P. I'm gonna jump to the S&P. You guys kind of understand my thoughts on Bitcoin. We're gonna look at the S&P because I think it's all aligned. So 640 is max pain tomorrow. Go. So let's see how the S&P lines up. Right now we're in my long uptrending channel, coming into the bottoming area. Now on a weekly chart, we are making divergence. It does look like we're topping, but this can take a while. Look at what happened here. And then when we finally started to diverge, we didn't actually top. We went up for quite a while more. Same thing here. I don't think it's going to go as long as this, but it is a similar pattern. And this could be argued that we're kind of getting a W forming. Anyway, so we're at the bottom end of the range. There's no TD 8 and 9, but see how well it worked on these tops? Look at that. You just shorted when a TD 8 and 9 came. Every time you would have made money. Just short. Once it goes into profit a bit, okay, you set your stop loss at break even, and then you set your take profit, and you probably made profit almost every time. 4 hour, it looks like it's getting ready to move higher. I closed, full disclosure, closed most of my shorts here yesterday. Almost all of them are closed. Actually, all of them are closed. And I have long entries right here and right here. At these two levels, we come back into this zone, 63.50 area. I'm entering long. We come down here, we take out this low. I'm entering long right here, and then we should rocket higher. I'm hoping that, same as with Bitcoin, we get this wick down and then something like that. So that's what I'm seeing on the S&P. I've closed all the short trades I had there. I won't spend too much time on the regular market. I know you guys aren't that interested right now, but I think it's important to kind of look at the connection, and they are connected. Don't think that they're not. Let me see what I want to talk about in the regular market before we jump into crypto land. Crypto. Yeah, I think it's worth it to look at coin, right? So if crypto is going to rocket, you might as well look at coin. Get rid of that stuff. Go to a daily chart. You can see how we crossed over. We're kind of retesting the underside. This fire signal here is saying, you know, this is the long period. Time to long, time to consider getting long. It could go as low as the 200-day moving average. You could get a spike down. I doubt it. You do see that I have these alerts here in case that happens. I will be shocked. I don't see it happening. I don't think they want to give people that entry. But this is as good as any entry to get into coin. And you can see how price made a slightly lower low, but RSI did not. That's giving you your divergence a bit. And we can go on like a 4-hour time frame, and we can see the 4 hours starting to try to turn. You have a TD7. Last time you had a 7 and 8, we rallied big time. Then you got your 8 and 9 and stop run up here, and then it rolled over. And now we're just repeating on the other side. It's kind of, it's the same thing. They already took out all the liquidations here. So you're either going to get one of two scenarios. You're going to go down a little bit, and then you're going to pump. Or you're going to go down a lot of bit to down here, 260, 270 area, and then you're going to pump. So if you buy spot, regardless, you're going to be fine. I like it if you want to grab some crypto in kind of the normie sector. And then the question, I guess, is, you know, where do we go? And obviously this is our W, so we just use our trusty cast levels, and it leads us to about 480 per share, which is I could see happening, creating that divergent high. It's about a 60% increase. And it should happen over a 30 to 60 day time frame. So let's assume we start tomorrow. So 30 days will be when Bitcoin tops, when Bitcoin takes a little bit longer. So like end of September. So if you wanna buy some options, you could consider getting some call options. Just right up here. I don't recommend going too far out of the money. There's a lot of time decay and that kind of stuff. It's better to just use it as like a leverage trade on your position already. So something at like 320 in that area. If you want to play Ethereum, apparently SBET is a good play, but it hasn't been doing that well. But assuming that Ethereum will launch higher, then you're going to look at a move something like that, or you go up to around $48 a share, which would be a pretty good return. So if you long right here, right, that's 160% return. Here's our chaos level. Say let's use a conservative one. All right, so wow, look at that. Exactly lines up. Look at how that is just I'm always shocked. It happens a lot, but I'm always shocked when that happens. So SBET, if you want to play an Ethereum, you want to play Ethereum, but in the traditional market, in your traditional brokerage, you can trade SBET. And you could probably buy calls or something on that too. Although I always recommend spot positions if you have a big enough account size. If you don't, but you want to try to get similar returns, like in terms of P&L, even though you have a small portfolio, you can go with options, but just understand that it's way higher risk because you're dealing with that time thing. Okay, Omar asked to look at UPS. Let's look at UPS really quick. Look at a weekly chart. Wow, this really fell off a cliff, huh? We gotta go to a monthly. Why is this so bad? Oh, look at that. So we basically went below, almost below the lowest low from 2020. And we're back at like 2013 levels. We've got a 9 on the monthly chart. Why did it die? What happened here? Why? So does anybody know why this is dying? Like what happened here? It's a huge amount of volume. Look at the volume. Shoom. Big volume. A lot of shares are trading hands down here. I mean, to be fair, there's really no reversal yet. It looks like it's putting him in a bottom. I mean, if there was ever going to be an area I was going to buy in, it would be around here. But I want to know what happened here. Yeah, there was FUD about Christmas being canceled, okay, but like what caused this long? I mean, FUD about Christmas doesn't cause 2 or 3 years of downtrends. Is it because UPS represents the real economy and people don't have money? I think in the real economy, looking at normal people, I don't think they have money. I think people are suffering. There's some extreme suffering happening. It doesn't look like the downtrend is over yet, but it's getting close. It's not a bad area to buy some spot bags. I would wait until this weekly and the monthly look a little bit more bullish. Yeah, maybe it's canceled for several years. But it seems like a good spot buy. But if we go into a recession, or at least they call it a recession, and the economy really crashes, then it could go even lower, right? This might not be the bottom, but you do have a TD 8 and 9 on the monthly. I mean, let's look at the entire range of this thing. So traditionally, 78.6 has been a good buying level, around $80. If we make it a little bit, your levels at 77. I think around $80 is a solid buying level. I wouldn't have any issue buying spot here. I can't recommend any kind of calls or options like that. I think it's too risky, but buying spot, not a bad idea. This could, it could do okay. Let's take a bullish approach and say we're basically at the bottom, can bounce back to 238. Boom, 180% return. I just I have a hard time seeing this rallying when the rest of the market like crashes. And so that's what I have an issue with. Like you can see during the COVID period, this crashed hard, and then it rallied after with the rest of the market. So if it's going down while the rest of the market's going up, a little bit concerning, just a little bit. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on normal stocks. I always talk about Tesla, right? That's the big one. Everybody likes Tesla. Tesla on a monthly chart, no warnings. We did have the 9 that came in. It caused this kind of reversal here, and we've been sitting down here. We've got our uptrending channel that's intact, but price is basically flat. Momo shows you're just flat across the board. We're just burning premium. Probably a lot of retail bought calls, expected something to happen, and essentially nothing has happened. We will eventually break higher and likely go to this 468 area. I just don't know when. I'm long Tesla stock, just waiting, but I'm not doing any options. I think it's too risky. That's Tesla. All right, let's go back to crypto. Bitcoin, you can still see it's rejecting It is in a bit of a downtrend right now in these lower time frames. But you can see how down here, we're just embedded down here, and they're grabbing liquidity on both sides. So that's really what's happening. If we looked at when we looked at our liquidity heat map, it seemed like the ideal move would be during Jackson Hole to go down here around 110. Not sorry, wait a second. Go down right here to around 111, 500, and then just reverse and rocket higher. That's basically it. We've got a TD8. We've got a weekly chart that is still bullish, although leaning semi-bearish. But I think that's just to and you do have a TD8 on the weekly. That's concerning. So that's why they need to close the weekly down here to reset this count, and then they can rocket it higher again. You can't like rocket higher while you have a TD9 printed. It's gonna be kind of hard. Really, the volume is low? Do you guys think the volume is low? Because I've got it boosted by 12 dB on the system mic, and then in the software I also have it boosted by 6 dB. Like, I don't know how to make it. I think I can't actually make it any louder than this. Also OBS is telling me I'm in the red. So maybe Cryptonaut, check your volume, because I actually can't make it louder. It should be blowing your ears out. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing for Bitcoin. That's my kind of prediction and plan. The next question is, okay, well, what do we buy? What's going to do well? How do I make money? The way to make money is you look at this weekly chart of BTCD. Okay, good to know, Cole. Thank you. And you see that Momo is very, very bad. It's very, very strong to the downside. And that's what we want. We need strong Momo to the downside. Now, I don't like that there's a TD7. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. But we're gonna ignore it. It could go to a TD8, and it could land all the way down here before you kind of sit and consolidate. Just understand. But we broke this massive uptrend, right? So this has been broken down decisively. And we came up, we retested, it got rejected. Everything I'm seeing, the behavior of alts points to that this is a consolidation before we make the next plunge. You're just gonna fall off cliff and rocket higher in alt land, and they're gonna way outperform Bitcoin. Okay, so if Bitcoin goes to my target of around 140, and I'm not saying that's the final target, by the way. We have to see what happens when it gets up there. But let's say it goes to 140. You're only looking at around 25% upside, right? 26, 25, 26%. It's not that much. But Ethereum, which is putting in a TD8, by the way, and that's concerning. If Ethereum breaks out, this is your Ethereum like trend for the past, like, let's look at a monthly chart of this. Okay, so this is kind of your you could say that this is like a really long W, right? So if we break out of this W, and we assume it's a W, now let me make it a little bit more conservative. Let's make this as conservative as possible, and I want to make the 1.618 tag be right there, like it was front run. So the most conservative price for 4.669 to reach is 10,542. So from where we are right now, even getting to just 2.618, you outperform Bitcoin by almost double in terms of percent. And if we go to this final target, you outperform by 150%. Okay, that's Ethereum. Of course, you guys, everyone knows that. Everyone's talking about Ethereum now. It's the old story in a way. What's the new story? Okay, well, anybody, any ideas? Any thoughts on what coins are really looking good right now that could offer that 150, 300, 400% return in the next like 1 month? Any thoughts? I don't wait like 30 seconds. I know there's a bit of a delay. Yeah, Russian Menace, I can talk about ZEC. Sure. Yeah, ENA, I like. Oh, Cole thinks Doge. All right, so we've got Doge, ENA. Russian just said ETH betas. I mean, that's obvious. Like, what Ethereum betas? Name your favorite one. Well, we'll start with looking at. You guys didn't even say my favorite one, Link. Link is being explored to be included in the Swift payment systems, I believe. So this is a big one that I've been watching, and it's been extremely strong in this rally, like too strong, suspiciously strong, so strong it broke out of my parallel uptrending channel. And this was look at how obvious this W is. This is a very obvious W right there. And you can make it a bit more conservative. So if this was our 1.61i and this was our 2.618 right here, our next target is 36. Okay, how much is that upside from here? It's about a 47% upside. I don't think we're going to stop there. I think we're going to go to 8.77. So that puts you at about 130% upside. Not bad, not bad. Very strong, stable coin. You could do it on like 2, 3, 4x leverage. Probably do very well. Okay, Cryptonaut said ENA. Let's look at that really quick. So ENA is my baby. I've been talking about nonstop on the site. It's been following the chart very clearly. Crypto Haze talks about it a lot. It's involved again in U.S. regulations, stablecoin stuff going on. You get a lot of liquidity flow into this one. It's perfectly followed my chart so well that I'm suspicious. I'm suspicious. It tagged our 1.618 here, then tagged our 2.618, had its pullback. We've got a TD8 on the daily. By the way, I'm fully long on this thing. I got all of my fills. My last fill was at 0.62. It just barely tagged it. I didn't have to move any of my orders up for this one. And from here, we should go up to my target of about 134. So from there, you've got about 110% return. Will it stop there? I'm not sure. This could be a giant W. What if this is a giant W? And you could go all the way. You know, that's your real target, all the way up here. That's a 600% return. What if that happens, right? I'm not saying it will. I'm saying target, you know, in the short term, we've got my little target down here at about 110% return. I really like ENA. I think it's done extremely well. I like how well it's followed the chart. I think it's in a good buy area right now. I don't think you could find a better buy area. If you go to a 4 hour, you can see it's starting to try to reverse. So you just got to get Jackson Hole over with today, last flush out, and then it can move higher just like everything else. Who else? Dog money. Okay, so Doge. So Cole says Doge. I don't know if he's kidding or not. Doge has not been doing that well. It's kind of flagging down here. I don't really see the implication or the use for Doge, but maybe I'm missing something with the story. Assuming this is our kind of W area, it points to 0.62, which, to be fair, does give you almost 200% return. I just don't see the strength in it. Like, I see strength in others, but not really Doge. That doesn't mean that it can't go up. It's just not the same level of strength that I'm seeing in some of these other coins that give me a lot of confidence. But it's not bad. Of course, it can go up. Everything can go up. Everything probably will go up. Cryptonaut said Zeta. Russian said 786. Well, one I talked about a lot last week is ILV. Right? This one I talked about a lot and got very excited because we broke out on a weekly chart. Look at that. Look at that weekly breakout. And we got massive volume here that came in. The only thing I don't like is we did get a 7 on the weekly. I don't know why that had to happen. But you can see sometimes you got weekly stuff came in and then things just continued. So I'm not going to put too much pressure on that in terms of like this type of coin, but I do like that the RSI crossed over on a weekly chart. We essentially have a ugly W here. Right, and we could kind of leave something like this. I want to go a bit further to try to line up that 1.618. But anyway, potential target isn't at $51. And from here, that's a 250% return. So Illuvium is one that, I mean, even just back in 2024, March 2024, it was at $150. Like, how is it that bad? What fundamentally changed with this coin that could destroy it so terribly? By the way, this is right here. This is downtrend line. Might provide a small resistance, but probably not that much. This downtrend line we're obviously on the other side of. This is my favorite coin that I've looked at in the gaming sector. Last episode, if you want to go back, watch last week's show. I looked at a lot of gaming coins. This is my favorite one. No guarantees, not investment advice, but I just don't see how something, like, I guess something fundamentally had to have gone wrong, but the volume here isn't, first of all, the volume here is insane. This is insane volume. Bullish means increasing volume. And back in 2021, this went to $2,000 a share. Like, obviously there's been a lot of dilutions that have happened and things like that, but you can see even just getting back 38.2 is pointing to at 743. Now I want to let's look at it from a market cap standpoint. Do they not have it, like, market cap wise? And it'll be Illuvium. I just want to look at the market cap. Total value locked. Number of whales. Oh, look at this. There's so much. I just want to look at market cap. I want to graph the market cap. Illuvium, spot. Hodler's balance. Trader's balance. Does anybody know a ticker to look at the market cap of Illuvium? I mean, I guess I can look at the TVL. You can see back in 2021, it was 100 million. If we even can just go back to just half of where we were before, it's like an 800% return. Just go back to March right here, 1,200% return. It's crazy. It's completely crazy. Something else had to have happened here. I don't understand how it could go down so much. And why can't I see the market cap? So many things, but not market cap. Illuvium, market cap. See, they have market cap for all these other ones. Sol market cap, Bitcoin, XRP. No Illuvium market cap. Yeah, annoying. Okay, but my point stands. This one seems like it could do really well. So I'm very bullish on it. We can actually go here and like Illuvium market cap. This is, I want market cap. Coin market cap. Okay, market cap. So yeah, right now it says market cap is 95. And back in March, we were at 382. So if we just get back to March, that's a 3x, 300%. So there's definitely some kind of dilution happening, causing the supply, I guess, to increase, such that the coins lose value over time. Yeah. Oh, but I think it has a lot of upside potentially. All right, that's enough time on Illuvium. I don't think anybody cares about it, which is great. And it means I'm looking at the right thing. Russian says IMX. Yeah, IMX is kind of in the same vein, right? So IMX is, what is IMX again? It's the Ethereum Immutable X, right? Another gaming thing. Yeah, so if we even just retrace to 78.6, it's a 500% return. It's huge. Absolutely huge. I don't know why gaming crypto died so hard. I can't understand. I can't wrap my hand around this. But at minimum, you know, it looks like you can get a 400%, or sorry, 250% from the current level. Yeah, of course, Raphael, that makes sense. I'm not looking for anything to the old all-time highs. I'm just looking like, can we get back even to this March area? And I'm trying to look at the big market cap ones. I don't want to promote any micro caps and cause anyone to get rugged. I think it's easier to just focus on the big market cap coins for now. Once the cycle gets really crazy, you can spin down to those lower market cap coins. F all these days, it's poor pure attention. Well, at some point, they'll probably get attention again. And right now, they're not getting attention. So when they're not getting attention, that means we should be buying, right? I mean, that's what I think. Okay, so Atom could go to 11. Not as nice as IMX and Illuvium, but still like 150% return. I think gaming crypto and Cosmo Network, I think these are definitely potentially big movers that could do really well. Cosmo could even go to 36. And if it just goes back to, I don't see it going back here. So I'm kind of looking at like these areas. So if it can even just get back to even here, it's like a 200% return. So you really have to look at like depressed coins. Right now, I think we're in like the blue chip rally phase. That's why I'm talking about things like ENA. Oh, look at ENA 65. Wow, I'm up quite a bit from my 62 buy. ENA, Link, you know, Solana, those kind of like blue chip, slightly lower coins. I could also look at like dinosaur coins, but I'm not as enthused by them. But you do have little W's coming in. So something like Litecoin could go to like 130, but it's not a big move, right? It's just like 12%. You're not gonna make insane money from that. This was your original W, by the way, and final target is about 200, so maybe you can get 100% turn. Yeah, Sui. Oh yes, Sui. I want to talk about that. So Sui, I've been wanting to get long, and I've been wanting to have it just take out these lows, come to like 3.31. That's the area I'd like to buy in. And you can see how it's consolidated for quite a long time. And if we could say that this is like right here is kind of our W range area, then target is around $11. So then that puts you at a 225% move. Still not as good as gaming crypto, but it's not bad, right? And something like this, you kind of need to look at it like on a log chart. So if we look at it on a log chart, and we assume that like this was our, let's be conservative. Like I could take it from down here, but I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative. Let's assume that was your first leg, and then we've had about basically a year of consolidation. We look at the lows, and that target's about $13. So if you long essentially right here up to this high, let's say you take profits a little bit early, $12, just to because people like to front run, you get a 250% return. So yeah, I agree, Russian. I think we are living right now in the worst dual economy I've seen in my lifetime, where I know some people doing tremendously well, doing crazy well, but I know a lot of people also, like normal people, are not doing well at all. I think normal people they're completely tapped out. They're into their credit cards at this point. They're not really making money from the stock market rally. There's inflation everywhere. I don't think normal people are doing well at all. I think they're suffering. This is a monetary driven rally, as I've shown with a global M2. This is all driven by Ponzi-nomics. I don't want to get into it, honestly. We're here to kind of predict price action and how to make money from trading. So the point is that all these coins are basically in buy levels. Like SUI, it's right here. This is your buy level. Like this zone is where I go long. So if you're not long altcoins, get long. Pick your favorite coin. It's going to go up. Basically, everything's going to go up. Except maybe meme coins. Meme coins maybe won't. Because, you know, they're meme coins. But maybe they do. I don't know. So to recap really quick, I like Link. I like SUI. I like Illuvium. I like IMX. All the coins we looked at today, I like. I think that regardless of what you long, you're going to probably do very well. And I think the bottom's going to be put in tonight. I think Powell's going to say something that's going to allow the market to have an excuse to dump really fast, and then it's going to rally like crazy, and it's just not going to stop. And that's gonna be how we get kind of our blow off top. Cow, K-A-U. Hello, He-Man. I never saw you before. C-A-U. What is this? Kenks. This looks like a. So this looks like a coin that is a low market cap coin. Polygon. Why Polygon, DG? Okay, He-Man, tell me about this project. What is this? What am I looking at? I don't see a lot of upside based on this bottoming pattern. Yeah, of course. I like interacting with you guys. Otherwise, why would I do it live? Yeah, this one, I mean, it's on the other side of the downtrend. I don't know. I don't like to, with crypto, I kind of like to know a little bit of the backstory of a coin before I can give any kind of recommendation. Otherwise, the best I can do is just say, look, this is what I see. This was the range for a couple weeks. It tagged this level, and it could maybe go to like $1. Oh, no. Polygon, we can look at Polygon. Matic, yeah, Polygon is Matic. But is Matic active? Like, what's going on with that network? I also like to look at the network usage. So the coins that I've talked about, I did a lot of research to see like how much are they earning on the network, how many people are using it, what's the growth, and that aligns with my analysis and why I think they'll do well, because things seem to be growing. While these I haven't done any kind of analysis on. Now, purely from a technical standpoint, yeah, Matic looks like it could go up 168%, and just get back to your December 2024 levels. That's really all. I haven't done enough research to really give much in terms of advice. It has rallied a bit, and it looks like it could go a lot higher. So I mean, I think you could buy almost any altcoin and you'll probably do well over the next 30 days. It's just, will you make 100% or will you make 300%? That's kind of the big difference. Offline proof of work coin. Okay, that doesn't tell me that much. It just tells me like the category of coin. LUNC and Luna. Is anybody using Luna anymore? Like Russian, who's using that network? Like, what is on it at this point? Yeah, Litecoin could be a treasury coin. It could happen. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not gonna totally dismiss it. If we look at these kind of like if we look at a monthly chart, right? This would be your conservative bottoming range. And your target would be about 272. But you'd hit 177 first, and then finally you'd hit 272. That's kind of what could happen with Litecoin, but it's no different than the other coins I'm talking about. They're all kind of blue chips, and I'm just going with what I see the highest likelihood of having a decent upside. Nacho Don still uses. Oh, it's so sad of what happened with Luna. I don't want to talk about Luna. I got wrecked so badly in that. That was the most painful financial thing to ever happen to me in my life. Yeah, I'm not sure about Litecoin. If that happens, obviously it could rally, but I just think there's cases to be made for other coins. The other one that people keep talking about, right, is XRP. So, you know, on a monthly chart, XRP had its big move. This was the, like, again, using our kind of fib levels, consolidation area. If we, by the way, look how fast this move was. It was literally 1 month, and then it was over. So if we use that as the bottom, and this is kind of the top, we hit that 4.669. Your next level is $5. So if you're really interested in XRP, your upside is only 70 to 80% from here. I think there's other coins that have better upside than XRP. So that's why I'm not really that interested in it. Yeah, Rune also sucked. I agree, Raphael. TRI had a lot of Rune. Yeah, not not great with some of those. They did well. The fundamentals looked good, and then some strange event always seemed to happen. Speaking of Rune, if we look at this, right? If you say this is your little W, you go to like 236 and then maybe 3. I'm not I know TRI has Rune, but I'm not particularly excited about it. I don't own any personally. I mean, I do through TRI, but I don't own any myself. I think the Rune story kind of got wrecked. Yeah, FTX also. So I'm not that enthusiastic about Rune. It's not really participating in this rally. Yeah. Yeah, I just talked about Polygon, GG. Did you miss it? I talked about it. Matic, right? Polygon is Matic. I talked about it. I gave my thoughts. Yeah, it did. Oh God, Luna all over again. So painful. Let's look at the others index really quick before we call it. I wanna look at it on a monthly chart. So this monthly looks like it's getting ready to bottom. Reverse weekly chart. Weekly chart honestly doesn't look amazing with in terms of RSI, but you do have a solid uptrend here, and if we go to like a daily, you can kind of see this range being established, and if this is the true range, then our final target should hit around 500 billion, which is on average a 80% move higher from here. It's really not that much though. Like if you, and I talked about this before on previous shows, if you look at like the previous runs, for example 2021, look how much this increased by. Like it went up 1,000%, and then it pulled back, and if you didn't make it that time, you had a second chance where it went up 254%, which was still not bad. But the first one was where you had to get in, okay? And then everything retraced, and if you bought the bottom, you caught a 300% move, okay? And then it came back down, and you got a 150% move. And now we're looking at potentially about another 150%. But do you see how really the last time to make huge money in alts was 2020, 2021? Since then, on average, returns have not been great. It's been 100 to 200%. Now, there's a select few coins you could have gotten lucky on, but it's not, you're not going to see the rule of large numbers, just you're not going to see 1,000% returns all over the place. You'll find select few. There need to be a couple that do that 1,000% to kind of keep people interested in the casino, but I wouldn't get too excited thinking you're going to make insane money. And that's why instead I'm focusing on these large cap coins that maybe go only 100, 200%, 300%, but at least I get something. And on top of that, I can 2, 3x leverage along them. And, you know, I turn that 100% into 300%. Well, that's kind of how I'm playing it, how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at what can I trade that essentially almost has a guarantee of going up and will make me money, and I can maybe use a little bit of leverage to boost that level. All right. Jackson Hole tomorrow. Watch for the scenario I talked about here to play out. You know, please be careful. There's going to be major volatility, major stop runs. If you see the market dump big time, consider buying with spot. It's going, it essentially has to bounce. Global money supply says it has to bounce. It's not, I don't see things being over yet. Everything points to we've got one more move higher. I mean, we have all these, where's the, I think it's in my other, I don't have it here, but for example, not CoinMarketCap, but CoinGlass, Bitcoin top. There's like a ton of CoinGlass Bitcoin top indicators. None of them have even been close to being hit. Not the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. Where is it? They have a bunch of stuff all put together, and I don't know. Where is it? Stablecoin. I have it on my other. I forget where it is. I have it on my other browser. Yeah, I don't have it. I'll post it in the Discord. Well, peak signal checklist, this one. So not a single one of these have hit the sell level. Some of them are getting close, like the Bull Run Index, the golden ratio multiplier. They are at like 80%. Long-term holder supply, dominance 90%. So, you know, this is good that you got a 90% because it means altcoin season could show up. So really nothing's at all being hit here. And I'm not saying all of them are going to be hit. I don't think they will be. I don't, not every cycle is the same. So people waiting for every single one to hit, they're going to get burned. But I just can't see the downside. There's too much odd price action showing me that they are building liquidity here. They're building, this is building liquidity to eventually launch higher. Like, there's no other reason to sit down here for a whole week other than if you plan to do this and then that. It's the only reason, only thing that makes sense to me. All right, let me check. You guys have any list questions? Otherwise, I'm going to call it. That's good. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for participating. Again, be careful tomorrow. It's going to be a wild ride. Well, not tomorrow. It's 8-9 hours, I guess, tomorrow for a lot of you in the East Coast or wherever you are. Yeah, I suggest putting your limit orders ahead of time, kind of planning out the trade. Mine are, you know, I talked about it in the show. If you missed it, go back and watch again. This is a big moment here, okay? Just understand that this is what, if you're interested in altcoins, this is what you've kind of been waiting 2 or 3 years for. This is going to be your liftoff moment. And if I'm wrong, this is going to be one of my biggest fails. But I don't think I will be. Okay, I will see you guys on the Discord. And if you're not a member of TRI, consider signing up. It's not expensive at all. One of the biggest benefits is if you don't have time to watch me blabber, every week right after the show, I post a summary of what I talked about, where the summary includes basically all the coins I talked about, all the stocks, along with any kind of price targets, stop loss levels, things like that I talked about. All included in a nice summary, and you don't have to watch the show. It'll save you a lot of time. I think it's a big benefit of being part of the community. Okay, good to see everyone, and hopefully you all survive, and I see you next week. All right, bye guys.